Welcome to Inside the Vandals, a weekly show covering University of Idaho football and the Vandals in action. Inside the Vandals is brought to you by the School of Journalism and Mass Media and by the Coeur d'Alene Casino, Hotel, Spa, and Resort.
Welcome to Inside the Vandals, brought to you by the Coeur d'Alene Casino, Hotel, and Resort. I'm Harrison Lashinger.
And I'm Chris Dermer.
Chris, we had such an exciting week this past week in Vandal Athletics. A bunch of different things happening. A lot of the Vandal teams had their Big Sky openers this past week. The football team traveled to Northern Colorado and didn't exactly get the result that we wanted. What happened in that game?
Yeah, Harrison, the Vandals really beat themselves in this one. 13 penalties for 130 yards, as well as 4 turnovers. But if there was any bright spot, it had to be freshman running back Nick Romano, gaining 132 rushing yards on the ground. He further proves why this Vandal running back core is so deep and talented.
I couldn't agree more with you, Chris. I had a chance to catch up with head coach Paul Petrino to talk about our game against the Bears and what we can look forward to against the number 5 team in the country, Weber State.
You come in Sunday and Monday, or Saturday night, all day Sunday is a tough day because you watch it first by yourself, and then you watch with the coaches, then you watch with the players. But you have to move forward. You know, we didn't have the passion and the fire. We played with such great passion and excitement at Wyoming and against Eastern, and we had 18 plays of over 11 yards on offense, and no passion was shown on any of them. You know, and that's not how you play.
The Idaho Vandals traveled to Greeley, Colorado this past weekend to take on the Northern Colorado Bears. Idaho, just coming off their huge win against Eastern Washington, came into Greeley with the expectation of leaving the Bears with an 0-5 record and leaving with theirs being 3-2. But that just wasn't the story. The Vandal offense put up some points early as kicker Cade Coffey nailed a 23-yard field goal to put the Vandals up by 3. But after a few possessions, the Bears came back firing, throwing a 58-yard touchdown to put the Bears up by 4. The Vandals would now put up 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, the first one being a 27-yard touchdown by the freshman stud, Nick Romano. The next one would be a 17-yard receiving touchdown by the second-year wideout, Cottrell Haywood. The Vandals scored another touchdown in the third quarter, and the Bears did as well, leaving the score 24-17 Idaho going into the fourth. The Bears would run a 2-yard touchdown in and then kick a field goal, putting them up 27-24. Idaho would get the ball back and got stopped for a 4th down and 2. But before the Vandals could get a chance to go for it, both the quarterback and head coach, Mason and Paul Petrino, would get unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. It would now make it 4th and 32. So the Vandals punt, the Bears get the first down, and they run out the clock. A true heartbreaker for Idaho fans everywhere. The Vandals will now take on the Wildcats in the Dome this weekend, and Coach Petrino knows how good that defense is.
But they're good on defense. There's no question. Their front 7 is good. They have different ways they try to get after you pressure-wise. They play a lot of man coverage. Then they mix in some zone also, do a good job disguising it, making it try to look similar. But the biggest thing you got to do against them is block their front. You know, I think that's the number one most important thing is block their front. And they want to win with defense and special teams. You know, he's done a great job. He's a really good coach, and that's kind of how they want to win. And we got to make sure we stay on the field offensively and take care of the ball and not turn it over and go up and down the field and come up with touchdowns. And I think that's the most important thing.
For centuries, we, the Coeur d'Alene tribe, have honored our resources as good stewards and our region as good neighbors. We've built a world-class casino resort hotel that supports hundreds of jobs, funds health care and other services, and has generated more than $33 million for education. Because we've been an integral part of this land for generations, and we will be for generations to come.
Do you want to push your limits, explore your creativity? Are you looking for a chance to excel? Create a real campaign and watch it be implemented. Do you want to solve real problems with real clients? We do. Join the ad team.
This moment right now, you'll never get it back. So attack it. Attack the moment. Attack every moment.
This is my final year. Gotta leave it all on the table.
Go get what you want. Preseason awards are nice. Postseason awards are better.
Postseason games are the best.
See yourself there. See yourself beating the champs. Playing in the game where all eyes are on you.
That's why I'm outworking those guys while nobody's watching.
Push yourself to the limit. Push yourself past your limit. Go where you didn't know you could go.
That's why our foes will fall.
We take on Weber State right here in the Kibbe Dome today. What are some of the things that we should look forward to?
Yes, Weber State, the number 5 team in the FCS right now, as well as having a top 3 defense. The Vandal offense will have a handful today, but hopefully the magic of the Kibbe Dome will be on their side.
I really can't wait to see that matchup today. Coming up now, we're going to look at Vandal soccer and Vandal volleyball. Joining us now, Zach Kellogg and Delaney Buell.
Thanks, Chris and Harrison, and welcome to Vandals in Action. I'm Delaney Buell.
And I'm Zach Kellogg. As Chris and Harrison were talking about, big weekend across all fall sports. A lot of Big Sky opening weekends. First on the hardwood with volleyball, facing off against a Portland State Viking team and Sacramento State Hornets, both very scrappy and very good. Our own Noah Porter takes a closer look.
It was an impressive start to Big Sky play this weekend for Idaho volleyball, starting out 2-0. Thursday marked the first home match in nearly a month, and Idaho made quick work of a Portland State team, taking all 3 sets. On Saturday, the Vandals took down a tough Sacramento State team in 5 sets. Head coach Debbie Buchanan said that these wins have an impact on her team's confidence.
Well, obviously to win is always awesome, right? Everyone loves to win, but it's good for our confidence. I think, we've been battling these last 4 weeks in preseason, and we told our team that you just have to let it go and we have to focus on the start of conference. It's a new season, everyone's 0-0.
The Vandals are back in action October 3rd against Montana State in Bozeman. For Inside the Vandals, I'm Noah Porter.
And Delaney, especially for a young team like this, getting those first 2 wins in the conference season against 2 very solid squads, it's always nice to get your feet wet in the Big Sky season with 2 wins.
Soccer, a little bit of a different outcome, having their 2 Big Sky home openers in the Kibbe Dome against Montana and then University of Northern Colorado. Bryce obeyed with the details.
The Vandal women's soccer team opened conference play this past weekend at the Kibbe Dome with back-to-back games against the University of Montana and Northern Colorado University. Beginning Friday with their match against the Grizz, the Vandals narrowly lost to the defending Big Sky champions 1-0, the lone goal of the game being scored by Montana midfielder Quinn Peacock. Their match Sunday against Northern Colorado almost yielded the same results, but a clutch shot by Idaho senior Juliana Detar in the final 12 seconds of the game sent the team into double overtime. The Vandals tied the Bears 1-1.
We know games are going to be tight, but we dominated possession. We had the better chances, and I was glad that we at least got the equalizer right before regulation.
The Vandals will hit the road Sunday to take on the Eastern Washington Eagles. For Inside the Vandals, I'm Bryce Obeid.
Still a relatively young team, Zach, just trying to get those kinks worked out as conference play continues.
Yeah, and Idaho head coach Jeremy Clevenger and junior forward Casey Bruce, they both know that the Big Sky season can be very tough, and with this young team still trying to get their feet wet and having the 11th toughest schedule in the NCAA for their non-conference, they realize the Big Sky can not only be just as hard, probably even harder, and they realize that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. The Big Sky season is finally here for Idaho soccer. After finishing the non-conference schedule with a 3-7 record, most teams would be written off, but Idaho head coach Jeremy Clevenger still feels great about the team's current standing.
I think looking at the whole overall scheme of things, it was pretty positive. We played a really hard non-conference schedule, so I think all that really tested us. We came together. We're starting to play some of our best soccer at this time of the year, which we want going into to our conference season.
Having played the 11th toughest non-conference schedule in the NCAA, expectations are still high, with the team knowing that there's still plenty of time for growth until the postseason.
Being second in conference last year, I think we have really high expectations for ourselves this year, and I don't think we've peaked yet, which I think is a good thing because you don't want to peak at the beginning of conference. You want to do it probably right at the end towards the tournament, and so you can get to that NCAA, and that's our goal.
With a tie to Northern Colorado and a loss to Montana on Big Sky opening weekend, the Vandals head to Eastern Washington, looking for their first conference win against the Eagles and start building for a postseason run.
That's a rivalry. I have a few friends on the team, so it's always a fun one, but we've beat them both the years I've been here, so I don't think it's going to be hard for a third.
Here you go, hon.
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer. Did you ever notice that the very first bite of every grave meal is always the potato? That's why it should always be an Idaho potato. Only genuine Idaho potatoes have the perfect taste and texture to get your meal started right.
Hey, look! It's huge!
Oops, gotta go.
Wait! Wait! Come back!
This moment right now, you'll never get it back. So attack it. Attack the moment. Attack every moment.
This is my final year. Gotta leave it all on the table.
Go get what you want. Preseason awards are nice. Postseason awards are better.
Postseason games are the best.
See yourself there. See yourself beating the champs. Playing in the game where all eyes are on you.
That's why I'm out working those guys while nobody's watching.
Push yourself to the limit. Push yourself past your limit. Go where you didn't know you could go.
That's why our foes will fall.
Now we introduce to you a new segment on our show, Tevin and Mason's Investigations.
Hey Mason, have you noticed all the scooters out front of the dome lately?
I have, man. Seawick gave me a ride on his yesterday. We're going really fast. It was crazy.
Bro, I heard there's like 20 guys on the team that have them.
There's like 20, and they're all football guys, I heard, too.
I find that very hard to believe.
I do too, man.
You know what we should do?
What?
Let's investigate. You've likely seen them prowling through your local streets of Moscow and asked yourself, who are these guys?
We're Heaven's Devils. It is as simple as that.
Heaven's Devils is made up exclusively of Vandal football players, but who brought this zany group of Easy Riders together?
KP had a moped, and we saw it, Dalton and I. We're like, you know, seems pretty sweet. Like, seems like he picks up a lot of chicks on that thing.
Yeah, so who's in charge would probably be KP, Kyle Perry. He was the one that started the whole moped gang.
It started out as an efficient way to travel to school for free parking and evolved into some sort of freak cult.
We're sitting about 14 deep now, and it's ever growing. So, I mean, there's really no telling where we could be in another year.
I mean, our most prominent location is probably the Dome because we always have to go to practice, so we'll usually just ride together there because it looks pretty funny. And then a lot of the time we'll just head through downtown, and Dalton or Zach will lead us, and we just kind of follow.
I feel like I have more power when I'm riding my moped.
Despite the rapid growth of the Heavens Devils, some teammates still choose to criticize the group.
They look like Charlie's Angels. They need to go ahead and invest in a car.
Honestly, we started out with a lot of haters, and as it kind of grew, then people kind of really started to catch on. For instance, Mason actually was a big time hater. He used to always call us out on it, Dalton, KP, and I, when it was just us. And now, you know, he's looking at it like, I might need a moped.
Regardless of what the haters say, you can't deny that the Devils are riding strong.
It definitely brings the team closer, as ridiculous as that sounds.
Chris, it's great to see that those guys can definitely have chemistry, whether it's on or off the field. That's all the time we have for now. Coming up now, number 5 Weber State versus Idaho right here in the Kibbe Dome. Dennis Patchen and Ryan Phillips with the call. For Inside the Vandals, I'm Harrison Lashinger.
And I'm Chris Dermer.
And we'll see you next time.